Hey, what's up, everybody? You're listening to the Enterprise Architecture Radio. If you're thinking about organizational complexity and agility, if you're concerned about operational efficiencies and are thinking of taking it to the next level, if managing innovation is one of your priorities, you have come to the right place. On this podcast, we talk about all of that and more. It's a jungle out there, and we will attempt to navigate this jungle of frameworks, methods, and most importantly, enterprise architecture in practice. Welcome, everyone, to the first episode of Enterprise Architecture Radio. It is the first episode, so let's set the premise. I'm going to try to answer three questions: why enterprise architecture is required, why am I doing this podcast, and most importantly, why should you subscribe to this podcast? Let's start with why you need EA. Once upon a time, in a land far, far away, there was a small company named Widgets Inc. It manufactured and sold widgets. The owner of the company, let's say Obi, had a dream to sell more widgets than any other company ever had. So he started looking at the quality of the widgets and how he could let his customer know about his widgets. He worked day and night, and slowly his customers grew. They started talking to each other about these amazing widgets that have come into the market, and he started getting more and more popular. At this time, all he had was a small office with a few people working in administration and a small factory with one machine and six workers producing widgets, two shifts a day. But as the product started getting popular, his demand for products started increasing, and he had to keep orders on the hold. He added three workers and a new shift. So now they were working three shifts a day, 7 days a week, and it was still not enough. So he had to procure a new machine and add nine more workers to his factory. Also, his supply chain staff started getting overwhelmed. So he had to invest in hiring more administrative staff. But adding so much investment for just one widget did not make sense. In the meantime, his daughter, let's say Leah, who was also quite enterprising, had been talking about a new type of widget that could sell really well in the markets. But it was new and required him to tell his customers about it. So he hired a research and development team to develop the product and a marketing team to put the product out there. Mass production of this widget required a new machinery and a new set of skills. He hired more people. But to afford this, he had to expand his market into the neighboring kingdom. So he hired more marketing teams and appointed a marketing leader. This neighboring kingdom was far and the supply chain was getting expensive. So he decided to start a new factory locally in the neighboring kingdom. He hired a man to oversee the manufacturing and marketing there. Later, he found out that there was another man, let's say Vader, who was manufacturing a similar widget locally. And that was selling quite well as well. He also knew that the widget would sell really well in his kingdom too. So he decided to buy Vader's factory and add it to his business. But now, with all these different capabilities, factories for manufacturing different types of widgets, marketing and supply chain to manage, maintaining quality, starting storefronts, he had to hire all these leaders who started taking independent decisions. The complexity started increasing beyond the point of which he could manage it himself. Have you heard this story before? Of course you have. This is the story of every company in the world. At some point in the past, we started using information technology to enable us. And while it enabled us, it also increased the complexity of the entire organization, sort of like elevators for the construction industry. Earlier, we used to build houses that were a few floors high because we had to climb stairs. Once elevators were invented, the sky was literally the limit. This also means that the architects had to start looking at how the field of architecture changed, now that they had to build buildings that were higher than just a few floors, which means stronger foundations, better materials, etc. IT changed how we do business in a similar manner. While it enabled us to do more, it also increased the complexity considerably. And what do we do when complexity increases beyond what our limited minds can enable us? We write it down. Enterprise architecture is just that. We write down everything about our organization: how many products, how many functions, how many systems, how many processes, and so on. And most importantly, how do they interconnect with each other? How do they relate to each other? How do they interact with each other? Just that we don't write it down on a piece of paper. We have IT systems, tools, and technologies for that. And when we intimately know our organization, we are able to manage it better, make it more efficient. And that is why EA. Although that's not the only reason why we need EA, but that's a big one up there. Now, the second question: why do I want to talk about this topic? Well, first of all, I love this topic. And I have to be honest, I happened to stumble upon this opportunity quite unknowingly. When I got my first job as an EA, I did not even actually realize what enterprise architecture meant. But when I studied it and when I learned about it, I realized its potential and how much it can do. And I stuck to it. I have decided to build my career around EA, organizational agility, and engineering excellence. In the IT industry, we are very tolerant to waste, whether it is infrastructure deployed or lines of code or money spent on maintenance or any other part of IT. The waste generated is very high. No other industry is so tolerant to waste. We think just because it is all digital and not visible in front of us, it's okay if there's waste. But I think there is a tremendous amount of change that can be brought there. And I would like to see that transformation happen. And it is bound to happen. I would like to contribute to this transformation, even if it is ever so slightly. And this podcast is my journey, my experiences. In this journey, I've had the chance to speak at a number of conferences. Have had the opportunity to meet with biggies like John Zachman, the father of enterprise architecture, the man who coined the term enterprise architecture itself, and Steve Nunn, the CEO of the Open Group, and many such amazing people. And I'd like to share these stories. And finally, why should you subscribe to this podcast? Why should you listen to me? I'm sure you have all experienced transformation. I'm sure you have seen new CIOs and CEOs come and go and entirely change the organization, from centralization to decentralization, from starting a new digital organization to deciding to move everything to the public cloud or new outsourcing and location strategies and what have you. If you're wondering why these decisions are taken, if you're wondering if there is a way to demystify organizational strategy, if you're looking for a way to simplify all this, and if you're wondering if there's a way to put a process around the elusive topic of innovation, then you are in the right place. We will talk about all of this and more. We will talk EA, technology, DevOps, agile, automation, artificial intelligence, and the application of all that. I hope you enjoy these episodes and I hope you engage with me. Talk to me. Tell me about your ideas. That's all I have for you today, folks. I hope you enjoyed the show. More about innovation, enterprise architecture, and how we can implement these ideas in the practical world, in the business, right here on this show. Do not forget to subscribe. Thank you for telling your friends about the show and supporting us. If you want to find out more about us, you can visit us at enterprisearchitectureradio.com. If you have ideas, thoughts, disagreements, feel free to write to me directly. We also have a Telegram group. And if you would like to contribute to the EA discussions there, just search for Enterprise Architecture Radio on Telegram. Or the URL to join the group is https://t.me/Enterprise Architecture Radio. I'm very easy to find on LinkedIn as well. You can find all my contact details in the show notes. Once again, I hope you had fun, and I'll see you in the next one.